Welcome back, everyone. Okay, if you're currently staring at a rather intimidating packet of paperwork, specifically the Iowa Medicaid and Hockey Review Form, or Form 4705168M, take a deep breath. You are in exactly the right place. Today's explainer is designed literally just for you. We're going to completely demystify this piece of government paperwork together. Because, by the end of our time today, you're going to see that renewing your coverage doesn't have to be some stressful ordeal. It's really just about knowing exactly what the state is looking for and where to put it. Okay, let's dive into this. We can break this whole overwhelming process down into 6 highly manageable steps. We'll cover 1. Keep your health coverage. 2. How to submit it. 3. Your household members. 4. Tax filing details. 5. Work and income. And finally 6. Final steps and signature. Let's start right off with part 1. Keep your health coverage, and exactly why this form matters so much. Getting this document right is absolutely crucial. It is the absolute key to maintaining your health benefits or, getting referred to the federal marketplace if you happen to no longer qualify. In fact, right on the front page, there's a very direct warning. It says, if you do not return the form by this deadline, you may lose your Medicaid or hockey coverage. The stakes here are immediate. That deadline printed on your specific document, it is definitely not a suggestion. It is a hard cutoff.
But to make sure you don't hit that worst-case scenario, the state breaks down the core instructions into 4 simple steps. Think of it as a very straightforward chronological journey. Number 1, answer all the questions. 2, read and update the pre-printed household information, so you cross out anything that's incorrect and add anything new. 3, sign the form on page 10. And 4, return it by your specific deadline. Keep these 4 pillars in the back of your mind as we tackle the rest of the form.
All right, moving right along to part 2, how to submit it. Let's look at the actual logistics of returning your paperwork. The good news here is that the state actually provides a highly flexible menu of options for returning everything. You are definitely not locked into hunting down a postage stamp. You can mail it to the imaging center in Cedar Rapids, complete it over the phone through the HHS Contact Center, drop it off in person at your local HHS office, or even email, fax, or do the whole thing online via the HHS Services portal. Now, here is an incredibly important detail from our source checklist. If you're working on this and you suddenly realize you need some assistance, or maybe you just need a little more time, you must proactively contact your HHS worker before the due date. Seriously, don't just let the deadline pass. Let's jump into part 3, your household members. This is the first major data section, and we need to figure out exactly who needs to be included here.
When you look at the physical page, you'll see these distinct blocks labeled Person 1, Person 2, and so on. This layout is specifically designed to help you compartmentalize the details for every single person living under your roof, so you know exactly where to write.
So the crucial point is, who actually gets a block? Well, the rules are pretty strict. You need to provide information for each person living in your household and listed on your tax return. This includes people who get Medicaid right now, those who want to apply, and here's the big one. Other folks who live in the household do not get coverage and do not even want to apply. Accuracy here is absolutely vital, mostly because the state checks your answers against electronic data sources. Now, if there's a new person living in your home who isn't already printed on the form, there's a special new household members section for that. You'll put in standard stuff like birthday and social security number, but you'll also be asked about eligible immigration status if they aren't a U.S. citizen or if they were in foster care at age 18 or older. And here is a potential hidden benefit. The form asks if they need help paying for medical bills from the last 3 calendar months. If they fall into a specific category, the state might actually determine they're eligible for retroactive coverage to help wipe out those unpaid bills. How great is that? And that brings us to part 4, tax filing details. Let's talk about reporting dependents. Taxes can be notoriously tricky, right? But rest assured, you can still renew even if you do not file federal income taxes at all. The form actually operates on a very specific logic branch, starting with this exact question. Do you plan to file a federal income tax return this year? If yes, you fill out the details. If no, you just skip to the questions marked with a star. But what if you just skip this question entirely? Well, the form's rules state that if you leave this completely blank, the state is just going to automatically assume that you do not file federal income tax returns. Now, if you are filing, you have to tell them about all persons in your household who file. If it's a joint return, write the spouse's name. Claiming dependents? List them. But here is where the dense government phrasing can get super confusing. What if you are a dependent on someone else's taxes? The form requires that if anyone in your household will be claimed as a dependent on someone else's return, you must write the name of that specific tax filer.
Translating this into plain, actionable English, they basically just need to map out exactly who is financially connected to whom via taxes. It's like a giant puzzle they need to piece together. Moving right along to Part 5, Work and Income. Here we'll cover reporting all of your earnings. You must report literally all the money the people in your household get, and this brilliantly illustrates exactly where to start entering those job details. For every working individual in the home, and yes, that includes self-employment and those earning tips, you're going to need to locate the employer name field. You'll drop in their name, phone number, address, and how often the person gets paid. Weekly, every other week, monthly, the whole shebang. Oh, and if someone has more than one job, you've got to report all of them. When it comes down to the actual numbers, look really closely at this specific field, wages and tips before taxes. You must specifically report your gross income. That means the wages before taxes are taken out. Make sure you don't miss the checkboxes too. You need to mark these if, in the past 3 months, you changed jobs, stopped working, or started working fewer hours. The state basically just needs to know if your financial reality has recently shifted. While you're filling in these numbers, the source documents offer a fantastic tip. If you have proof of income, you can just send it right along with this review form. They specifically suggest attaching check stubs, an employer's statement, or tax returns. Doing this one extra little step can significantly speed up the processing of your review. It just gets you to that peace of mind so much faster. Okay, we are in the final stretch. Part 6, final steps and signature, and how to make sure your paperwork doesn't get rejected over something silly, because simple mistakes here cause really frustrating delays. First off, right at the very top of the form, there is a critical yet super easily missed instruction printed in all capital letters: use only blue or black ink. Literally, if you've been casually filling this out in red pen, pencil, or, I don't know, a bright purple gel pen, you run a huge risk of unnecessary bureaucratic rejection when their imaging center tries to scan your document. So, stick exclusively to blue or black ink for the entire document, for sure. You have officially reached the finish line. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is realizing that all of your meticulous data entry, all that income reporting, it is completely invalid without providing this final signature or mark and the date right at the very end of the form on page 10. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a hard requirement. Absolutely do not send this form back without verifying that page 10 is signed. So we've walked through the entire process together. You know who to include, how to report your taxes and income, and the absolutely critical rules for finalizing the paperwork. You now hold the exact blueprint to maintain your health coverage. The only thing left is action. So, which submission method will you use today to conquer this form and secure your peace of mind? Pick your method, grab that blue or black pen, and let's get it done.